roads are so slippery. There are trees with snow breaking branches just outside our house. There's 2 big branches that are broken down, so that's blocking the road there. And that's the same, I gather, all over this part of the county.
James, first of all, tell us where you are. What's the situation?
Well, I'm in Bowness-on-Windermere. The snow started at about 10 o'clock yesterday morning. By lunchtime, we had 6 inches. By mid-afternoon, we had 8 inches. Overnight, it snowed another 2 inches. So we've got 10 to 12 inches of snow. The roads are completely blocked. Cars abandoned all over the place, which is making it even worse. The police say there's an ongoing operation in place, but we just don't see any of it. We had one snowplow all day yesterday, went past on our main road, and it didn't even plough the snow. It just left it there. It was crazy. So I've had people staying with me overnight who were stuck in their car. My wife's stranded over on the other side of the lake in Hawkshead. Friends were coming to stay with us. They had to sleep in a church hall last night with hundreds of other people up in Ambleside. Other friends have had people who are stranded staying with them. It's just not getting reported anywhere, it seems, this.
Gosh. And so is your wife okay? You're saying she's stranded. Is she managing to stay with someone?
She's all right. She stayed with 4 other people in the house of a friend over in Hawkshead. And there are loads of people stranded there. Of course, the ferry stopped working last night. There's no buses or anything on. So
are you getting much information about what's going on?
Very little. I've tried trawling yesterday all over the internet to see if anybody reported it. Westmoreland Gazette, bless them, did have a little bit of reporting, but that was about it. The police reports didn't tell us very much at all. The local council, we've got a new council here called Westmoreland and Furness Council. This has been their first major test in an emergency situation. I'm sorry to say that they've failed dismally because there's just been no response in our area. The place is clagged up completely.
And I mean, have you got, on a very basic level, have you got enough food in? You're going to be okay if you have to stay in for a while?
Well, yeah, we're quite bare because we were going to be shopping yesterday and we couldn't get out to do that. But we've got enough to keep me and my 2 new guests going for a bit. Whether they'll be able to get out later on, I just don't know because the roads are so slippery. There are trees with snow breaking branches just outside our house. There's 2 big branches that are broken down, so that's blocking the road there. And that's the same, I gather, all over this part of the county. So.
And you were saying hundreds of people stranded, people sleeping in church halls. Have you got a sense of, I mean, are they staying warm? Are they being fed? I mean, who's coordinating that?
I've no idea who's coordinating it. I've got 2 friends who were coming to see us yesterday who got stuck in Ambleside, and they were in a Zeffirelli cinema initially, and then somebody ported them through to St Mary's Church Hall, and they ended up sleeping overnight on hassocks in the church, I gather. They've set off to try and get to us now, but whether they'll get here, I just don't know. All I've heard is that there were hundreds of people there, but I just don't actually know what the numbers actually are.
Of course. It must be incredibly stressful. Is your wife okay? Is she stressed about it? Is she stoic? I mean, how's she coping?
She's always very stoic.
Fine. That's good then.
Yes, she's with 4 friends. They were singing in a choir yesterday in the Hawkshead Christmas fair, but the whole thing had to get abandoned. They turned around to try to come home. They just couldn't get. So they turned around, and unfortunately, these friends were able to take them in.
Oh, that's very kind
and I gather that's the case with lots, but she's all right. I don't know whether she'll be able to get home today or not. She's talking about walking sort of 6 miles into Ambleside.
No, tell her not to do that. I think that's a really bad idea, James. Tell her definitely not to do that. Listen, stay with us, James, because I want to bring in Phil. Phil, you're in Kendal. What's the situation where you are?
Kendal, traffic on the main roads in Kendal at the moment are moving a little bit. We've seen a few more gritters than yourself have seen over in Windermere. We saw a gritter last night, and then there was a tractor with a snowplow on it last night as well, just doing some of the street saving Kendal. But overall, it's just been a bit of a nightmare. I've been partially blocked in at home, can't get out because I live down a single track lane. I'm probably not going to be able to drive up and down our lane for probably the next couple of days due to there's about, as you've already said, about 12 inches of snow. So we're currently parked in a lay-by about a mile away from our house.
Gosh, okay. And so you're having to stay put as well, as you can't be going out?
No, we've got back into Kendal this morning,
Right.
to do something, to do a couple of bits and pieces.
Okay.
But yeah, it's just as he's already said, it just put down snow that we've not seen up north in the proper north for quite some time.
We spoke to John Hammond earlier on, and he said, yeah, forecasters didn't quite get this right, which sounds like a bit of an understatement. How much snow were you expecting?
We weren't expecting very much at all, we were actually at an event last night. We weren't expecting hardly any snow, and look what we got. We seem to get forgotten about here. Everybody thinks the north finishes, it starts in Manchester, but that's 70 mile away, and 100, and then 45, 55 miles to the Scottish border. The northwest here just gets completely forgotten about, because this is actually the north and not Manchester.